r/AskReddit. What is the most savage thing a teacher has ever said to you? After getting hit in the eye with a softball during PE and almost being knocked the duck out, he said to me, "Son, it could have been worse. Could have been my eye." Sounds like you got physically educated. Not me, but a classmate of mine who put on his sunglasses in class. Take off those sunglasses. Your future ain't that bright. We were sitting around at the end of shop class just talking shit until the bell rang. One student asked the teacher if he knew how to get 4 gay guys to sit on a stool. The teacher didn't know, so the student turned over his stool so all 4 legs were pointing up. We all laughed, and then the teacher said they had the same joke back in his day, except it was about how to get 4 sorority girls to sit on a stool. The student thought that version was way better and started laughing even harder. Then the teacher says, "Isn't your sister a sorority girl?" The look on the student's face was priceless. Not me, but my best friend. In social studies, the teacher was giving a lecture and my friend, let's call him Jared, was talking shit to some friends at the back of the room. He said something about his dong, as high school kids do. Well, from the front of the class comes a real snappy line from the teacher. "This is social studies, Jared, not microbiology." In high school, the yearbook committee did a thing where we went to different teachers and asked where they saw random seniors in 10 years time, and put the quote in the yearbook. When I gave the name of one of my friends to our English teacher, she simply said, "Jail." Was she wrong? Yup, he never had any legal trouble at all, and currently works on nuclear stuff at a shipyard. He's one of those good old boys who's way smarter than he would ever let on, and she just hated him for some reason. After building trebuchets to launch golf balls in physics, we were doing our tests and someone's went off center on a swing and threw a ball in my direction, hitting me in the head surprisingly hard. Actually got a minor concussion from it and it split the skin open. Seeing me grabbing my head and bleeding, my teacher laughs and says maybe it'll fix the part of your brain that makes you like you are. I once got a look at my teacher's seating chart. He wrote me Ted next to my name. He had been one of my favorite teachers up until that point. One of my football buddies got his essay back, and the teacher put the mark and F or D or whatever in the top corner, then drew on the top a football play, except instead of the end zone he labeled it the failure zone and showed my friend ending up there. Upon hearing groans following an instruction to get into groups or whatever, "Christ, you want some cheese to go with that wine? Just move." Upon receiving an essay report with almost 0 punctuation, "This writing is so bad it should be on toilet paper. It's textual diarrhea. It gave me pinky just to look at it." When students complain that this is boring, boredom is a thing that happens in your head. So there are no boring activities, only boring people. Lift your game. Tyler, oh, you lost your pen? I teach. What's my job? You're a teacher, right? And you lose things. What does that make you? The reason I gave you the role of the dog is cause you bitched about the assignments. Edit. Just cause you all upvoted this so much. I will give more details. It's for the men's choir performance. For this upcoming one, we all will have little things to do and one of the songs is filled with jokes. We haven't performed it yet, but when the recording is on YouTube, I will link it here when I can. Ask any questions and I will answer them the best I can without spoiling the performance. For our Christmas concert I was playing first cornet, small trumpet, and I neglected to wear completely black shoes. They had a white stripe around the rim of the sole. When my brass instructor found out, 10 minutes before we were about to go on stage, he fixed me with one of the most intense, burning glares and stated, "You are an absolute disgrace," in a cold tone that was dripping with disappointment and barely repressed rage. He was my favorite teacher who was a super chill guy I looked up to and respected a lot. But damn, music teachers on concert nights, a completely different beast. "You should really wear socks. It's disgusting not to." Then she gave me a pack of Hanes men's socks. Word got around the school, and I was bullied relentlessly. I gave my last clean, not hole-filled pair to my little brother that morning so he could play at recess in the cold Iowa winter and not be too chilly. So duck you, Mrs. Wilkinson. Once my PE teacher said that they have mirrors in the gym to check your posture. I said no, it's to take photos and flex. Then he said, "You've got nothing to show off." Guidance counselor while simultaneously looking over my transcripts and aptitude test scores. Well, it looks like you're a classic underachiever. After finishing my lap of the field for rugby training and giving out times for the team, my coach teacher said, I would have timed you Emma Gentleberry, but I didn't bring my calendar. I'm getting so many good ideas. Keep them coming, guys. It wasn't said to me directly but rather done to me. I'm a female with a male middle name. We had at least 4 other girls in the class with the same first name as me, so I volunteered to be called by my middle name. By the time I got home, the male teacher had called my mom to tell her I wanted to be referred to by my male name, as if to say there was something wrong with that. I can't put it any simpler. Haha, I still laugh at that one. Neither were towards me, but my history teacher was a ducking madman with his savagery. I was chewing gum and a girl put her hand up and snitched on me for it. He looked at her and said, this is why people ducking bully you. Later that year he got into an argument with some donghead in my class who was trying to be badass. The kid straight up paraphrased Bruce Banner and said, and I quote, don't piss me off, you dead ass would hate me pissed off. The legend that was Mr. Summers replied, I hate you anyway, get out. I repeated a sexist joke my friend told me to my other friend in 7th grade. I think it was like, why don't women need a license? There's no road from the kitchen to the bedroom. My teacher asked me to repeat what I said in front of the whole class. So me being a smartass repeated the joke with a smirk. Teacher, naughty trouser snake, do you have a girlfriend? Left double quotation mark. Me. No. Teacher, that's what I thought. Now sit down. I didn't say anything because she was pretty intimidating. Even though I'm witty, I'm sure she wouldn't have quipped right back, even meaner. But I wish I had said something clever like bringing up her recent divorce and say maybe you should have traveled that road more often. You got me that one time, Maze. Jerlinger. Don't bother showing up for the exam because you can't pass the class. I showed up, got 103% because of extra credit questions, and passed the class with a 50/100. I forgot the name of the book, but back in 4th grade we were reading this book about a kid who had to survive on his own in a cabin in the forest while waiting for the return of his father. Well, this being elementary school, they were doing that teacher assigns you a few pages and you have to read it out loud exercise. And I got the last few pages where the kid reunites with his dad. So the segment was something like his kid seeing his dad out in the distance and he waves him down while shouting "Pa. PA." Now I wasn't sure if the teacher wanted me to literally shout those lines in class, so I did a half-assed paw, pa, or kind of talk shout. But apparently that wasn't enough for the teacher, who had suddenly decided he's going to be the director of this little play that was going on in his head, cause he looked at me and in front of everyone said, "Come on Mike, you can do better than that. Your dad was literally in a car accident last month. Put some emotion into it. Yay." Reminding a 9-year-old about that one day his dad was late picking him up from school because he was in a car accident that almost killed him. Not the best thing to do if you're a teacher. I really like you as a person, but I hate you as a student. My French teacher told me this when I was in high school. During this period where I was really depressed and self-destructive and on the verge of flunking out. Having her be so honest with me and pointing out that I was wasting my potential, but at the same time saying I was a good person, made me want to do better, and eventually I did. My 8th grade math teacher blasted me to the rest of the class after a test. I won't say the name of the student with the lowest score, but his initials are my name. That stung a bit. I was 6 and my teacher told me I didn't have enough creativity to write fiction, and I should just stop. Did you prove them wrong and ended up dedicating a novel to them? I've got 4 completed novels, almost a 5th, under my belt, and if I ever get published, fingers crossed, I'm gonna do that. That's a great idea. You don't celebrate Christmas? What, are you a Jew or something? I was like 9, and Christmas looked fun as shit, like it was my ducking decision to not make decorations and get presents. LOL. This happened to a friend of mine. In a chem class, the teacher was explaining the process by which atoms become ions. He said that metals lose electrons while non-metals gain electrons. He summarized the point and said, non-metals are gainers and metals are losers. After a quick scan of the room, he turns to my friend and says, "I guess you are a metal then." That if I could write the best paper in the class, Then my American classmates, she really meant white because I'm also American, should be able to do better. This was meant to inspire the white kids at my expense. I don't have favorites. I hate all of you equally. Ms. H. Small 1992 3 Honors English History. My friend told me that a teacher told her at age 12 that she would be the most successful of all girls because of her big boobs. Mind you, same friend who speaks 5 languages. Brilliant, and was a junior Olympian level swimmer. If you were my employee, I'd hand you your last paycheck and tell you to scram. But I'm stuck with you. Said in front of the entire class. All my fault, but I didn't take theater class serious, but I needed the credits, so at the end of my senior year I asked what can I do to at least get a D, and she helped me out, but she said, keep in mind throughout your life people aren't always going to help out. I hope you pass this kindness forward to people you do not seem worthy of your time. Good luck. Biggest truth bomb that stuck with me. Thanks. Not a day goes by that I don't regret writing you that letter of recommendation. Me. Opens mouth to interject. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Proceeds to stare deep into my eyes. Straight through my soul. Me. Turns and walks out of the room. No comeback for that. I don't have enemies. Alive, best 8th grade teacher. Wasn't said to me, but still my favorite high school memory. Grade 9 French teacher left halfway through the semester, so we had a temporary teacher for about a week. First day she introduces herself and tell the class a little about her. She's from Russia, a few other facts, and she does not drink alcohol. A kid in my class responded with, but miss, you're Russian. You must drink like vodka or something? Teacher said that's a stereotype. Not all Russian people drink vodka. That would be like me saying you're black. You must steal things. Half the class practically fell out of their chair laughing. I got bullied in middle school by 2 guys in the grade ahead of me. One day they said some particularly mean shit to me, and one of my teachers, who was also the football coach, could just tell that I was down on myself. He grabbed me after his history class one day and kind of tried to cheer me up. I'll never forget one of the things he said. You know the thing about guys like that, and guys like you are going to be signing their paychecks one day. I honestly didn't fully register it at the time, but years later I'm like, damn. He basically said those guys aren't going anywhere in life. During an evaluation of my internship, I'm not gonna fail you, on one condition. I'll give you the passing grade if you leave at the end of the year. I said that I didn't understand a specific exercise we had to solve in maths. When I asked my teacher, he just answered, no big surprise that you're the only one who doesn't get that. Again, I won't explain it to you another time. Get yourself a tutor. Not me, but a kid in my class raised his hand and said, I know the answer to the last class question. Your hairline. To our bald teacher, and everyone started dying of laughter, and the teacher responded, and I know the answer to that. Your detention. This is one of many interesting events that have happened in 6th grade. My teacher once said to a 15-year-old boy in front of the whole class, you know when you are walking through the shops and you see a really fat person wearing Crocs and they have screaming kids by their chubby ankles that are just as ugly as them, and the parents look like they have the most disgusting hygiene and haven't showered in weeks? Yeah, you know the ones? Just remember, even they got laid and yet you still haven't. I know you're smart, but apparently you're not smart enough to actually do the work on a regular basis. After I had gotten the highest test and project grade on the lit unit we did for The Great Gatsby, one of my favorite books, after scraping by with C and D's for the rest of the year for books I didn't care about, Looking at You Anthem. A teacher told a guy in my class to give himself a slap behind the head because he wasn't allowed to do it, and after that told him he was an a-hole. It was pretty funny since the guy was always acting like he was better than everyone else. I went to quite an old-fashioned English grammar school. I had this super old school teacher who used to assign quirky self-development tasks in detention. He'd teach you 6 ways to tie a necktie, or how to polish a pair of shoes properly. Honestly thought the world of him. Ultra strict, but in a caring I want the best for these kids kind of way. I remember being in detention with a mixed age group of lads, all boys school, and he was teaching us how to sew a button onto a shirt. One older lad said sewing was gay and refused to do it. Sir, as I still refer to him, said something along the lines of, "Mr. Brown, I regret to inform you that paratroopers in the British Army are required to sew buttons back onto their garments should one come amiss. Are you putting forward the proposition that the entire parachute regiment are in fact homosexual because of their propensity for needlework?" I remember thinking at the time that was the most badass way I've ever heard someone say, "Shut the duck up, you little twerp." Me. So what are you doing for Valentine's? Not sure why I felt that was appropriate, but anyway sir, that's absolutely none of your business. I don't go around asking you what you're doing for Valentine's, even though I know you're sitting in your room, on your own, crying because you can't get a girl. Another teacher told me I look like a Holocaust victim as I'm very thin. I just said FCK off your baldy PRCK, he just laughed. A high school teacher once told my husband that the world is always going to need ditch diggers. After he graduated, he got a job in the oil field in Alaska and started making over $100K a year at 18. He sent a copy of his check stub to that very teacher with a note that said, "You were right, and I dig some of the deepest ditches in the world." Bro, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.